Directly today with small business owners and locals hit the hardest by Hurricane Ian and took a helicopter tour of the damage. But Biden says even with this federal help, it's going to be years before this state is able to fully recover from this storm.
While the flood threat persists throughout Florida tonight, those rivers still very much at flood stage, and this could be a problem going into the coming days. You can see the Myakka River here right now, still at major flood stage, 10.5 feet. It crested at 11, and well, almost 11.5 feet there just a couple of days ago. The record was just under 12.5 feet, and that's just one of the rivers that are still in major flood stage here. As they're all over the state from the west coast to the east coast, and you see them here, Sarasota up into the Orlando area, and then we've got a bunch of rivers in action stage up towards Jacksonville and around Daytona Beach. And over the next few days, it does look like we're going to continue to see these rivers and streams and creeks running at high because we have more rain in the forecast. It's going to be fairly quiet as we get into our Thursday and our Friday forecast, but it does look like that sea breeze kicks up from east to west, and that'll send more moisture across the peninsula. And as a result, we'll see the chances for some rain showing up certainly into the day on Sunday and then Monday as well. And so the folks there not only going to be dealing with possibly getting wet during cleanup and recovery, but also the streams and creeks, Marissa, going to continue to be on the rise. And it does look like, obviously, that will stir up some concerns for not just the folks that live along those rivers and streams and creeks, as those areas have been flooded out. But remember, over the weekend, the Myakka River was one of those rivers that did flood out the interstate, I-75. And so everything about this rain could be problematic here, Marissa, as we go through the next couple of days or so.
Yeah, everybody around these rivers vulnerable to the continued swelling that we're seeing. All right, Florida residents saw massive storm flooding last week, but some Orlando residents also dealing with sewage water overflowing, all because of Ian. Fox 35's Orlando's Nestor Mato has that story.
Stormwater is one thing, but sewage water and toilet paper, that's in a park, like that's disgusting.
Jason Castle lives on Anderson and Mills in Orlando. He took this video of the streets in his neighborhood clogged after flooding from Ian. He said sewer water was flowing out.
This has a very foul odor, but it also has toilet paper, wet wipes, and stuff that are, it's stuck in the street.
And he was having trouble reaching the proper agency for a fix.
Being placed on hold and then given multiple phone numbers to no results.
That was until he reached out to Fox 35, who got in contact with Orlando Public Works Director Corey Knight.
We have people out there to resolve it ASAP. That's what you'll see vacuum trucks with they're basically big tank trucks that come in and vacuum out the problem.
Just over an hour after we reached out, we saw the vacuum trucks arrive to pump out overflowing water. The city says they've had their hands full after the unprecedented rain from Ian. It caused a pipe burst at Lake Rowena.
Fixed, we're back operating with with that force main up and repaired. But we're still dealing with a lot of water in the system.
Nestor Mato, Fox 35 News.
All right, and tensions obviously heightened, right? In the aftermath of Ian, we are closely watching the tropics as we still have a month and a half in the season to go, and the Atlantic awakening in spots, mainly with Tropical Depression 12, as well as a second disturbance that bears a striking similarity, at least to the early stages of Ian. If you were paying attention, it really did get its beginnings off the coast of Venezuela and then continued to head west. So we do want to bring in Fox Weather's Ian Oliver to talk a little bit more about this disturbance, as well as that other activity in the tropics. And Ian, we did just get an update from the National Hurricane Center about this very disturbance and really who's facing those threats.
Yeah, Marissa, it's a natural response to have after going through a devastating storm in Florida in major Hurricane Ian. Folks across the country seeing the pictures coming out of Florida. You look to the tropics and you see, yes, another disturbance in the same place where Ian found its origins. Whole different set of meteorological circumstances, though, thankfully, And because of that, we are not expecting a repeat. Just want to get that out of the way. But you mentioned, yes, off the coast of Venezuela, southeastern Caribbean, that was where that disturbance entered the Caribbean. It started to get its act together quickly. And then in the western Caribbean, underwent some periods of rapid intensification. We are expecting this storm to get stronger. We got some new information from the National Hurricane Center just about 35 minutes ago at 8 o'clock. Now a very high likelihood of this becoming our next tropical system, but its long-term track couldn't be more different than what we saw with Ian, and I'll show you that in just a moment. For the time being, you've got max winds at 35 miles per hour. Its motion is west at 16 miles per hour. We've had this burst of new convection, new showers and thunderstorms closer to where this broad area of low pressure is. Now, the National Hurricane Center has said there's no evidence just yet of a well-defined low-level center of circulation. Once you have that, you get showers and thunderstorms wrapping around it. Then it's a tropical system by definition. We don't have that just yet. If it develops that, it'll either become Tropical Depression 13, or if this bumps up to 40 miles per hour, it's a tropical storm. It gets the name Julia at that point. Don't be surprised in the short term if you hear about Tropical Storm Julia. Just know, again, this is not a repeat of Ian. There is the development region that we're expecting. You see how different that looks, that westward motion across the Caribbean. 90% chance, though, very high likelihood, again, that this becomes our next system. But as it continues to drift off to the west, there is no path off to the north. You remember with Ian, there was a weakness in this area of high pressure. You had a dip in the jet stream here that helped propel it off to the north and east across the Florida Peninsula. This area of high pressure this time around is significantly stronger. You can see that right here. You get a clockwise flow around an area of high pressure, and it continues to steer this system off to the west. It blocks it. That path to the north is eliminated. That's not to say that this won't become a significant storm for Central America, because it may, and that depends on its track to an extent as well as we head into the early part of the weekend. This is Saturday. You see across the southwestern part of the Caribbean, there's extra wind shear. That's a factor that would inhibit further intensification, but we know what happened in the northwestern part of the Caribbean. That is some of the warmest and deepest water in all of the Atlantic basin, even in the aftermath of Ian. This is a much more favorable environment for intensification, lower wind shear, the warm sea surface temperatures, some deeper atmospheric moisture. That would allow this to be a stronger system that could perhaps impact the Yucatan, Belize, or up into Honduras. A weaker system would stay farther south, but still bring some heavy rain to Nicaragua. We know about the high terrain, the flooding potential that can bring. So the location of this north and south does have an impact on its long-term intensity, but we know that the strike zone with this is either going to be Central America or through portions of southern Mexico. The position of that area of high pressure prevents that turn to the north. Still may be an impactful storm in Tropical Storm Julia or Hurricane Julia, but it's one that will impact much farther off to the south. No United States impact expected with this one. Marissa?
And as everyone just tries to get back to their homes that were badly damaged, it is certainly news to their ears. All right, Fort Myers, one of the hardest hit areas, folks. They are just starting to come to terms with the loss of life as well as property. Fox Weather's correspondent Robert Ray has been in Florida since before the storm made landfall and reports from Fort Myers with an update on how those recovery efforts are going so far. All right, it looks like we are having technical problems with that package there, but we'll get it to you as soon as we are able to. In the meantime, we do want to talk about the fact that rebuilding, it's going to take some time.
That's right. It could be years for communities in Florida to fully rebound from the storm, but quick progress is being made. We know that the Sanibel Causeway, which was destroyed during Hurricane Ian, will be rebuilt. Governor Ron DeSantis says the state hopes to have it operational by the end of the month. Florida Power and Light is expected to restore power to about 95% of customers by Friday. And the federal government has extended the period of time it'll fully fund debris removal in Florida from 30 days to 60 days. Fox Weather's Kelly Costa joins us from Orlando on the recovery outlook for the next few days. Kelly?
Nick, the silver lining is that it does look like the weather is going to cooperate for cleanup. I want you to notice Fort Myers. You see an empty square there. That's because the weather observation system there was wiped out by Hurricane Ian. But right now it does look like you got some nice clear conditions. That's really going to help those crews out there. Punta Gorda 79 clear, Sarasota 73 clear, Tampa 74, Bartow 73. On top of that, it also looks like we are going to be spared from extreme heat. Yes, it is cooling down this time of year, obviously, but even then, Florida can still have these quick warm-ups to the 90s. Looks like that is, for the most part, not going to be the case. Of course, we want our recovery workers not dealing with that extreme heat. Punta Gorda Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bright sunny skies, temperatures into the mid-80s. For Fort Myers, also bright, dry, most importantly, upper 80s, a little bit warmer there. Fort Myers Beach, crews are going to be dealing with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, but at least it is going to be dry. Obviously, if there was rain, that long road to recovery would just get even longer, right? Sanibel, mid to upper 80s for temperatures there. In Pine Island, bright sunny skies with temperatures into the low 80s. You're looking at footage on the right side of your screen from Sanibel and Sanibel Island. So forecast highs for your Friday. Jacksonville 86, Palm Coast 82. This is a little bit farther north, but keep in mind in the Orlando area, I mean, Nick and Marissa was talking about that. We still have some major flooding due to the rivers there. So they're still in some sort of recovery, although it's not quite as bad as Southwest Florida. But Claremont, 86 degrees and bright. Harmony as well. Cocoa Beach, sunny skies 81. In Chiefland, 87 degrees, mostly sunny skies. For your Saturday, the trend continues. Now, a lot of the times in the summer in Florida, you deal with daily thunderstorms. In autumn, in the fall, it's much more quiet pattern here, which is why we have so many bright skies in the forecast and temperatures into the mid to upper 80s. Sunday, that is going to be the case as well. There may be a few more clouds around. Cocoa Beach could be facing with a few passing showers, 81 degrees, but it does not look like we're going to be dealing with anything that is going to significantly put behind any recovery efforts. Nick, Marissa.
All right, Kelly, and while we've been focusing on the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, there is something else, and that is a strong cold front that'll drop temperatures through the weekend for most of the northern United States. As we get into tomorrow, 98 million people are going to be below average, and we're going to see that number jump to 179 million as we get into Friday. Saturday, still in the triple digits there, but down to 133 million, and you see how that area of cold weather shifts across the northern plains into the Great Lakes and then eventually into the northeast. So we actually, as a result of this cool air, have a frost and freeze watch going for the Dakotas as we get into Thursday evening and Friday morning. That includes places like Bismarck there in North Dakota, as this is a pretty powerful area of high pressure, and it's not just bringing cold with it, also very gusty winds behind this cold front. So Marquette, Michigan, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. La Crosse, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. So yeah, we're talking about possibly our first maybe wind chill issue as we go through the next couple of days for the folks there. And on the back end of this area of low pressure, a few flakes could fly. And again, that's mainly for northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. And here is the fall cool down in number form here as our Friday high in St. Louis, 61. That's the coldest that it will be or have been since early May. And same with all of these locations. Kansas City, 56. Cedar Rapids, 55. We're going back to May 5th to the last time we saw temperatures like that. Rochester going to be down to about 48 degrees. And on Friday, look at how this thing really takes hold of much of the United States, allowing the coldest air of the season all across the United States and New England, Boston. Again, going to see these temperatures that we haven't seen, Marissa, since the early and middle portion of May.
Time to bring out the winter coat. All right, America responds. The path to recovery could take years for Florida. Tonight, we're going to be speaking with roofers from Minnesota who are ready to help Floridians rebuild, where they've started to assist homeowners, and how you can get help. We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Sue Serio from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Finally, our persistent, resistant low-pressure system is inching away from the East Coast, and we're finally going to have a dry night in a lot of places in this part of the country. Temperatures, low temperatures overnight in the 40s to our west and the 50s closer to the coast. And then sunshine, a much brighter day on Thursday. Highs in the 70s in places where it was raining today.
Hello, I'm Dave Osterberg from Fox 13 in Tampa, and wow, look around the southeast. Quite a difference, too. Need the heat lamps in Atlanta for tonight. Wow, as temperatures are going to dip back into the upper 40s, if you can believe that. 50s for Jackson and for Raleigh. But notice in the Miami area, no fall. It's going to be in the mid-70s tonight. But how beautiful does this look for the southeast tomorrow? Wall-to-wall sunshine from New Orleans to Raleigh with temperatures in the upper 70s to the mid-80s.
Fox 4 meteorologist Evan Andrews, we got some pretty decent weather invading the middle of the nation. However, there are changes underway as a strong cold front begins to come down out of Canada. Ahead of it, not bad. Dallas 62 tonight, Kansas City 57. Even Milwaukee's on the warmer side. Got some showers in New Mexico, but as the cold front makes its way into the nation, it works its way through the northern plains. Minot drops to 46 for a high temperature, while it's in the 80s, close to 90 in Texas.
I'm meteorologist Brian McMillan in Seattle, and here's your West Coast regional update. Sacramento, Vegas, Salt Lake, all clear tonight with temperatures down into the 50s and 60s. We'll cloud up a little bit tonight here around the Puget Sound area up near Seattle and in Portland, but less clouds than what we've seen here the past couple of days. Albuquerque getting a little bit of rain tonight and a chance for thunderstorms as we get into your day tomorrow. Much cooler temperatures into the mid-60s. Still toasty in Vegas and Phoenix with highs in the 90s and very comfortable in the Pacific Northwest.
The Fox Weather app. So much more than a forecast. Lightning fast. Cutting edge. And best of all, tailored to your location and your needs. Fox Weather. Download the app now and make it your own.
Sick of annoying spam calls? RoboKiller eliminates 99% of unwanted calls. And our answer bots have fun blocking your robocalls.
Selling a home